They uninvited me from my own sister's big day, live, in front of everyone. They thought I'd stay quiet, hurt, and obedient like always. But they had no idea what I had discovered about them. And when I revealed it on graduation night, their world shattered. My name is Evelyn Cross, and if you had asked anyone a year ago, they'd say my family was normal. What they didn't know was that my parents had spent years carving me out of the picture like I was some unwanted stain. And the Zoom call, the one where everything broke, wasn't the beginning. It was the moment they finally said out loud what they had been showing me for years. It started 3 months before my sister Madeline's graduation. She was the golden child, the one who got everything without ever lifting a finger. New car at 16, paid tuition, endless shopping money. Meanwhile, I worked 2 jobs in college, just to afford ramen that didn't taste like cardboard. Still, I tried to keep peace. I tried to be supportive, because family is family, right? But the distance grew like weeds in a neglected garden. Texts left unseen. Calls ignored. Holidays where I sat alone, while they posted pictures of matching pajamas and family traditions. I tried to pretend it didn't hurt. But then the Zoom call happened. It was supposed to be a family update meeting. I logged in, unaware that the meeting had already started without me. The moment my screen connected, the first thing I heard was my mom's voice, cold, clipped, irritated. "Evelyn, we don't want you at Madeline's graduation." Silence. It hit me with the force of a slap. Madeline looked away. Dad sipped his coffee like he hadn't just heard his wife disown me. My stomach twisted. What?" I whispered. Mom rolled her eyes like I was the dramatic one. "You always make everything about you. This is Maddie's day. We don't need your presence causing tension." Tension? I hadn't seen them in 9 months. I lived 3 states away. How could I cause tension when they never even invited me to family events? Dad finally spoke. "Let's keep this civil, Eve. It's just better if you don't come." Better for who? Then I saw it, barely a flash, a smirk on Madeline's face, small but unmistakable. It broke something inside me. I swallowed the pain like broken glass. "Okay," I said quietly. "If that's what you want." Mom nodded like she'd won. But deep inside, something dark and determined awakened. Not anger, not revenge, clarity. For the first time in years, I saw them exactly as they were. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty. The call ended, but that wasn't the end. Not even close. 2 days later, something strange happened. I got a letter, an official-looking envelope from my all-university's financial department. I hadn't attended that school for 3 years. Inside was a statement, a full breakdown of my student loan account, including a section titled, "Parent Plus Loans, Authorized Borrower Margaret Cross." And now that they were terrified. That night I made a decision, a quiet, burning one. I was going to that graduation, not as a guest, not as family, but as the person they betrayed, and I was going to expose everything. Slowly, precisely, publicly. But first I needed proof. For the next week I worked non-stop. Emails, calls, verification requests, a long exhausting trail of paperwork, until I had everything. The forged signature, the loan documents, the authorization forms, all linked to one person. My mother. When I finally held the folder in my hands, my heart thumped with something new. Power. They had taken years from me, but they weren't taking this moment. And the moment would arrive at Madeline's graduation, whether they wanted me there or not. The day came faster than expected. The ceremony was huge, an outdoor field, decorated with banners, stages, cameras everywhere for live streaming. Perfect. I wore black, not to mourn them, but to bury the version of myself who kept tolerating them. When I walked onto campus, I saw them instantly. My parents, smiling, laughing, acting like the perfect American family. And Madeline, crowned in honor cords and wearing a sash that said, "Future Leader." My jaw clenched. Future leader? She couldn't even lead herself to a class without someone paying for it. I approached quietly. They hadn't seen me yet. But when they finally turned, the color drained from their faces. Mom stumbled backward. Dad choked on his breath. Madeline's smile froze into something brittle. "Evelyn?" Mom whispered, eyes wide. You're not supposed to be here." I smiled, a calm, measured smile that made them visibly shiver. "Oh, don't worry," I said softly. "I'm just here to support my sister." I leaned in, lowering my voice, and to return something that belongs to you. Their expressions cracked like glass. Before they could speak, someone grabbed my arm. A security officer. "Ma'am, we were told you're trespassing on family property." My parents. They had actually called security to remove me. I almost laughed. Perfect. Exactly what I needed. Because now they had made the confrontation public. Hundreds of families were watching. Cameras. Students. Faculty. My moment had arrived. I turned to the security guard and spoke calmly. "Sir, I'm not trespassing. I'm actually the victim of identity fraud." Gasps, whispers. People turned. Mom's face turned ghost white. Dad stepped forward. "Evelyn, stop. We can discuss this privately." But I wasn't here for privacy. They had dragged me into the light. Now they were going to burn in it. I opened the folder, held the documents high, and said, "These are federal loan forms, taken out in my name, for her tuition." I pointed at Madeline. The audience reacted like a wave crashing through the field. Madeline's face crumpled. Mom staggered. Dad's jaw dropped. "And here," I continued, "is the forged signature my mother used." A woman in the crowd gasped loud enough for everyone to hear. Mom reached for the papers. "Stop, Evelyn, please." "No," I said sharply. "You didn't want me at the graduation, but you absolutely wanted my name on the loans." She shook her head violently. "It was a mistake. Your sister needed help." "And I didn't?" I shot back. "You could pay for her college, but not mine? You could forge my signature, but couldn't answer my calls?" My voice didn't shake. Not once. I looked directly at them, and they knew this was only the beginning. The crowd went silent, silent in a way that made every heartbeat echo. My mother's lips trembled as she stared at the documents like they were alive, like they were about to bite her. Dad was the first to break. "Evelyn, give us those papers. We can fix this," he said, voice shaking, eyes darting to the security guard as if begging him to silence me. But I stepped back. "No," I said firmly. "You don't get to fix something you knowingly broke." I could see it all over their faces. Panic, shame, fear of consequences they never thought would reach them. Because in their minds, I would always be the quiet one. The obedient one, the disposable one. But not today. Not anymore. The security guard hesitated. "Ma'am, do you want to press this as an official complaint?" My mother's eyes widened in horror. "Evelyn, no, please, not here." But she'd made sure everything was here. She was the one who wanted to embarrass me by calling security. She was the one who tried to erase me from this family. I wasn't ending this in the shadows. So I answered loudly enough for the entire crowd and the camera livestream to hear, "Yes, I want to file it. Right now." A ripple of gasps spread across the rows of chairs. Madeline finally snapped out of her shock. She rushed toward me, mascara streaked down her cheeks. "Eve, please, don't do this," she begged. I didn't know they used your name." "I swear I didn't." Her voice cracked with desperation. For a tiny second I searched her face, looking for sincerity. Something real. Something that told me she wasn't part of the betrayal. But then I remembered the Zoom call. Her smirk, her silence, her enjoying my pain. "No," I said quietly. "You knew exactly what they were doing. Maybe not the loan details, but you knew the way they treated me. And you loved it." Madeline collapsed into tears. Mom reached out and grabbed her, pulling her close like a mother shielding her child from a hurricane. Funny. She'd never done that for me. Dad stepped forward again, voice unsteady. "Evelyn, you are ruining your sister's big day. Why would you do this?" I laughed. A cold, sharp laugh I didn't recognize as my own. "I ruined her day? You uninvited me from my sister's graduation. You forged my name. You stole my future. And you want to lecture me on ruining something?" He froze. The officer took my documents gently. "Miss Cross, I'll need a statement. We have a private area." "Here is fine," I said loudly. They wanted to make this public. So public it will stay. My parents' faces drained of all color. People were recording. Hundreds of phones pointed at us, capturing every tremble in my mother's hands, every nervous twitch in my father's jaw. Good. They wanted an audience. Now they had one. The officer asked, "Can you confirm that you did not authorize these loans?" I looked directly into the camera lenses around me. I confirmed. I never signed them. They forged my identity. A strangled noise escaped my mother. "Evelyn, baby, we didn't do it to hurt you. We were trying to help your sister. She had such promise." "And I didn't?" My voice sliced clean through the air. "You told me to take out loans for community college because it was more realistic for me. You told me Maddie deserved a future. But what about mine? Did I not deserve one too?" Mom opened her mouth, but no words came out. She knew the truth. She just couldn't hide from it anymore. Dad rubbed his forehead, defeated. "We thought you'd never find out. We were always going to fix it." "When?" I snapped. "When the debt collectors caught me? When my credit got destroyed? When I couldn't rent an apartment or get a loan because of what you did?" Silence again. Dad's shoulders collapsed. And for the first time in my life, I saw fear in his eyes. Not anger, not disappointment. Fear! Because he realized I wasn't their punching bag anymore. The officer finished scanning the documents. "These signatures clearly don't match your legal signature on file. We will need both parties to come with us for verification." Mom's breath hitched. Both parties? What does that mean? The officer looked directly at her. It means you will need to give your statement as well. Mrs. Cross, forging federal loan documents is a serious offense. Mom's knees buckled. Dad grabbed her arm to steady her. Madeline clutched her graduation cap to her chest, crying soundlessly. I watched them, a strange calm washing over me. This wasn't revenge. This was accountability. Someone in the crowd shouted, "She forged her own daughter's identity?" "That's insane," another voice added. "What kind of parents do that?" Mom sobbed harder. Dad glared around as if the world had turned against him. But it wasn't the world. It was the truth. The officer turned to me. "Miss Cross, you may accompany them if you want." I shook my head. "No, I've already spent too much of my life following them." I stepped back, away from them, away from the lies. Madeline whispered my name through tears. "Eve, I'm sorry. Please don't leave us." But I had already left them long before this day. And they knew it. I looked at her one last time. "I hope one day you grow into the leader your sash says you are." She flinched. Then I turned to my parents. "And I hope you understand something very clearly. You didn't lose me today. You lost me years ago. Today you just..." The officer guided them away. Mom crying, Dad cursing under his breath, Madeline stumbling behind them. People whispered. Cameras flashed. A crowd parted around me like I was something dangerous. Maybe I was, because I had finally cut the chains they wrapped around my life. As they disappeared into the building, I stood alone. But for the first time ever, I felt free. I walked toward the exit of the graduation field. The sky was bright, the music playing as other families celebrated. It didn't bother me. My story wasn't their story. And thankfully, it would never again be my parents' story either. I stepped off the field, inhaled deeply, and whispered to myself, "Never again." Then I walked into my new life, unafraid, unapologetic, and finally, unbound.